Welcome back everyone, I'm Fisty McRib, and today we're going to look at another great location, or in this case, series of locations, to find legendary enemies in Fallout 76. Today, we're going to take a trip to the various Fissure sites around the map and take down some Scorchbeasts. Depending on how long you've been playing, what level you are, or how solid your build is, this might sound like an intimidating task, and it can be. Using Fissure sites to farm for legendaries is definitely ideal for high-level, well-built players. If you can kill them efficiently, then this is an excellent way to stock up on scrip, or maybe get lucky and find some great gear. If not, then you'll probably want to work on your build a bit more first, or find a high-level player to take with you. You'll see that there's different Fissure sites all over the map. I tend to start at the north and work my way down. In my experience, you have between a 30 and 40% chance of finding a legendary Scorchbeast at any given site. All the Fissure sites are fairly similar in that you're going to be presented with a Scorchbeast, sometimes more than one, but not in most cases. And then you'll also get some mobs of regular Scorch that you'll have to clear out before you can fast travel away. With my Stealth Commando build, I found the best strategy is to use concentrated fire to target the head, which will drop Scorchbeasts very quickly. Heavy gunners can likely use the same strategy, while melee or shotgun players might prefer to force them to the ground using a combination of concentrated fire to target the wings and Enforcer to cripple. Once they land, you can take them out a bit easier. On this run, I'm taking the time to kill all the enemies at each site, because I was doing it during a double XP weekend. Scorchbeasts and mobs of high-level Scorched are a great way to generate XP, especially during those events. With that said, if you want to be ruthlessly efficient and are only hunting legendaries, there's nothing stopping you from just visiting a Fissure site in stealth and fast traveling away if the Scorchbeast isn't legendary. Now, one important note there is, if you want to rerun this route on the same server, then it's a good idea to go ahead and kill every Scorchbeast you see. Typically, it takes 10 to 15 minutes or so to run all the Fissure sites on the map. So by the time you're done, you can usually go and restart back at Fissure site number 1 and have all new fresh spawns of Scorchbeasts to kill, but the only way you're going to get that is if you've taken them out along the way. Otherwise, you'll just get repeats of the ones you skipped over. The Fissure site you see me at now is in the Cranberry Bog, where you'll see two notable ones. The one I'm at now is on the western part of the Cranberry Bog, just south of Watoga, where it's just a normal Fissure site with one Scorchbeast and a bunch of Scorch to take down. After we finish here, we're going to run over to Fissure site Prime, where we're going to see a lot more activity going on. That site, typically, you'll see at least 3 Scorchbeasts. Sometimes you see more, especially if other players spawn into the area while you're there. It's not uncommon for me to not even do a whole map-wide Fissure run, but instead just hit this site and Fissure site Prime, as these two tend to give me a pretty consistent number of legendaries and a lot of activity, so you kind of get a little more bang for your buck when you go here. Now, I always run directly over to Fissure site Prime, because on the way over there is a shed where there's some workbenches, so if you need to scrap things you can, but more importantly, along the way there's usually some enemies in between. On this run it was just one Yaoguai, but sometimes it's a mob of robots or super mutants or cryptids of some type. These can be legendary on their own, but the main reason to stop here and take them out is because they have a tendency to draw the Scorchbeasts away from Fissure site Prime over to them, which makes it a little harder to kill them, especially if you use stealth. When they're aggroed to something else, your sneak attack bonuses don't work as well as they normally do, so taking out those spawns that can distract the Scorchbeasts can make things a little easier on you in the long run. Now, when we're in this area, especially at Fissure site Prime, where it's so dense with radioactive Fissure sites, we really want to be sure to watch our rads. Pop erratics, dilute it if you can, but basically just keep an eye on things, make sure you don't get overwhelmed. One Scorchbeast is not that hard to take on, but when you start getting hammered by 3 of them and some regular Scorched along the way, you'll be surprised how often you can be taken down. Now, at Fissure Site Prime, I do tend to see more legendaries, and I at least feel like it's more common to see 2 and 3-star Scorchbeasts here instead of just 1-star. That could just be a little bit of pattern finding on my part, but it's hard to say. The big advantage to using Scorchbeasts for legendary farming is that they're always going to be at least level 50 or higher. So while most of the items they drop will still, unfortunately, just be garbage that you're going to turn in for legendary script, at least what they drop will be max level. That means that if you do happen to get a really good item, it will be usable for the end game, as opposed to when you play events like Uranium Fever, where nothing is going to be max level and it's just guaranteed script. By now, I think we all get the point. Go to Fissure sites, kill Scorchbeasts, collect legendary loot, rinse, repeat. As always, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, or anything in between, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with a friend. Until next time, I'm Fisty McRib.